champions. So whilst I look at RNG's, I guess, duo and say I like it quite a bit, I still like IG's more. And they also have more mobility to get around the map. They have more wave clear potentially with the Karma helping the Varus. They can just instantly clear backlines. Like, it's pretty dangerous 2v2 in that bottom lane. I think junglers are a big part of this.
Expanding that to the rest of the map though, Rusty, where do you have your money? Where do you have your bets? Because despite the Camille, I feel like IG still got a pretty decent picks and bans.
Yeah, they don't have a bad pick-ban phase by any means. I actually think they have quite strong 1-4 split pushing with the Fiora as time goes on. They just need to not lose early or get Duke ahead early if that's going to be their strategy. Between the Elise and the Orianna, even the Varus with the ultimate and the Karma move speed, they still have quite good pick. And so they can work as a unit, as a 4-man, and still generate picks around objectives and around structures, but they have to get there first. And that's the thing with Invictus Gaming against RNG here, when you map out the team compositions and their strengths. If IG don't get there first, they never go there. Because they're against a Rumble, Jace, Misfortune, Zyra, and not even including the Camille. That's a 4-man unit that will absolutely destroy you with objective control by placing the Band-Aid, the Shock Blast, Misfortune ultimate, Zyra ultimate.
Yeah, that's a composition you never want to go into a bottleneck against, so you definitely want to be there first. Let's take a look at those keystones. Doesn't seem to be too much out of the ordinary. Rumble going for that Thunderlords. Top lane, again, further a battle on ADCs with the Warlord's Bloodlust. So pretty much as we expected, and that is a Rumble in the jungle. The initial
Playing
guess.
Rumble in the jungle.
The initial guess was correct. Yeah, a lot of help there from Let Me. He actually took it all the way down to 500, so great pull from his top laner. Looking towards this bottom lane, looking at this Misfortune. LPL, a region that was playing Misfortune a lot longer than every other region was, even after she fell off, so seeing her come back is not really a massive surprise.
No, it's not going to be too surprising, but we have to watch how they start playing out these lanes. Xiaohu too aggressive early. And we mentioned this backstage before, even in rehearsals, that Rookie is actually like an assassin when he plays Orianna. His Ori is actually incredible. His Lulu's similar, and I would say comparable to Faker in the way that they play, which is just hyper-aggressive on champions you don't usually expect to see it on. Like the kind of thing where you'll miss a spell because he just for some reason went forwards.
He does play it very differently as well from other players, so it'll be cool to watch. But again, my eyes are on this top lane, because I love watching these top lane matchups. And Duke up against Let Me. At least early on, it is fairly close in terms of their trade patterns, but as you get later and later on, Camille definitely does have the advantage once she gets that hook shot.
Yeah, level 3 is a pretty big point for Camille. Level 2 and 1 obviously will go to Fiora most of the time, but the big difference here is how their sustain comes out. Duke has to commit to have sustain by hitting vitals. Camille just wants to use the sweep and use her W from range and will be able to completely control the waves as a result of this, and General will have control of that lane. So from level 3 onwards, I'd say it's completely RNG's top.
What do you think in terms of skill order that Duke and Let Me are going to go for? I think specifically Let Me, because Camille's one of those champions which could actually just max anything coming into that lane.
I would say 2 points perhaps in the W if I was Camille, and then go towards, you could choose if you want damage, but I would probably max the hook shot. Lower cooldown means you have better trading against the Fiora. So the biggest thing in that 1v1 is the cooldown of riposte. If you max your E, you'll reduce the cooldown on the grapple, and so you can get 2 of those off in a rotation before the riposte is available again. And so it's about prolonging trades.
And while maxing Q is usually what you usually do, actually trying to land that on Duke when it's so scripted, I guess, is harder. Same thing with W, you can just jump inside that with lunge. Bottom lane, March just a lot of damage on the way out, and as you said, nice dodge there as well. But Uzi and Ming definitely have control over this lane. Even though you have this Karma and Varus, a pretty strong just laning lane, I guess.
Yeah, Karma has to commit to using Mantra Qs, and only when that's available. As junglers have said hello.
Yeah,
Kid will win
this isn't quite ships passing in the night. This is both ships kind of passing by and firing off all their cannons, but MLXG will back away. Not really a fight that he wants just now.
And no jungle to take on that side of the map, so MLXG has nothing to do, and he's just recalled. Needs to start making some moves on Summoner's Rift, or he'll just be wasting time with absolutely nothing to be seen. So you're watching him now attempt to at least find the Elise by invading.
Duke actually does have about a 4 CS advantage, considering or assuming that Let Me gets all of these minions that are crashing into him. So at least in the early lane phase, he's doing quite well.
The difference with top lane and what does sometimes happen is if you try and zone people off, or you build up too big of a wave, it then bounces back the opposite direction as too big of a wave. And so whilst it's about 11 CS in the lead, when that hits the turret, It'll go back to perhaps 4 or 5 CS in the lead, and then it'll bounce back the other way to Duke's turret, where Letme will have an advantage, and just rinse and repeat until someone dies, generally, with this back and forth of pushing and then recalling.
But at the very least, because Duke got the first push, he's able to go back to base and pick up a few items, boots, and a long sword.
Yeah.
So he just get the first backup there, which is nice.
It also means he doesn't have to teleport, but is choosing to teleport. So there's no early Drake consideration from Invictus Gaming just yet. He wants to be there to control the wave more so.
Right. It was a potential setup, and it will still be a setup onto Zhao, who as he gets completely blasted in the jungle. Mega Man was just walking him down, but it was enough damage from Kid, and that was first blood.
Yeah, very simple first blood, actually. Well done from Kid, firstly to be in the right place, and from Megan somehow to also be there, acknowledging exactly where the Jace would be. Summon is available, and just dies.
Yeah, it was just perfect. He was trying to limp away to that wall, but he was getting slowed down and just ultimately taken out. So really just nice, patient play from IG, just setting up in that river.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He hadn't actually recalled for his Hex Drinker yet either, and that's when he's never going to die to an Elisa, an Orianna, even Karma again. But instead of going back, he actually just pushed a little bit too deep into the jungle, trying to perhaps get some vision or find somebody, so it doesn't save him at all.
It's also a real feels bad moment for him in the mid lane, because that was like 2-3 minion waves crashing into his tower, so he actually just lost all of them. MLXG was luckily in place, and you can see actually the CS discrepancy between him and Kid is just from that mid lane farm.
Now they're looking to dive. They're going to find Kid. There you go. They're wanting red buff.
Oh, so. Kid did not see the Flame Spitter. Hextech ultimatum. Follow up with the Shock Blast as well from mid lane. Rookie's trying to protect. He does have his ultimate, but a flash in from Zhao. He has the tower aggro on top of him. Rookie maybe able to reclaim a kill, but not quite enough. He had expended all his resources. Hexdrinker at the very least popped, but a kill in return to that mid laner.
And this is actually mapped out about a minute in advance by RNG, so you have to give them some credit. At the point where Kid found MLXG near his own river and had no jungle minions to take, he warded the red buff. And so by warding the red buff, acknowledging that Camille's going to be able to have lane pressure, forcing the teleport out of Duke, but already having the minions to push, they bring him down to the red and try and find Kid rotating to that buff. And it's actually very well executed by them.
Really just nice from both teams, setting up in a very smart way as well, just keeping track of where they're going to be in that jungle. Oh no. Actual disaster. That went down to 12 HP, and MLXG unfortunately took it with the AoE there.
3 Spiderlings as well. Oh, damn.
Okay, yeah, that could have been the double fail donation to mid lane. So Zhao, he got the kill. I mean, MLXG was just like, you got that one, it's fine. You don't need blue buff. It's not like you're a mana-hungry champion or anything. And Rocky will push this one in now in the mid lane. So at the very least, he went back to base and got his mana reserves back up.
This is also good from Kid, reacting to the fact that blue buffs are being handed over. Knows exactly where MLXG will be. Also knowing that he doesn't have the equalizer, so doesn't have the ultimate, even though there's a level advantage. And I might add that was a pretty substantial level advantage until right now, being 7 to what was 5, but gets the free red buff and pulls in closer to equal again.
That's true. Let's jump back up to top lane. A lot of the action has been going on in the jungle and mid lane, which is as expected, honestly. But Duke and Letme are pretty much even now in terms of farm, and you can see just standard build. Duke is having to go more defensive, but it's actually, bot lane and this bottom river specifically where Kid is just taking away Mountain Dragon by himself.
Yeah, so there's 2 control wards protecting him above towards mid lane. Rookie can come down and help him. And the thing with Mountain Drake and Elise is that it attacks so slowly, and apparently resets, but it attacks so slow that you can switch forms and constantly have 2 Spiderlings, and by the time it hits them twice to kill them, you've already killed the Mountain Drake entirely.
It's actually the same thing with Rengar. You can take Mountain Dragon as Rengar and just not take any damage.
Yeah, it just attacks so slow.
Mountain Dragon's great to take. However, Cloud Dragon, that thing just does a billion damage because it attacks so fast. So harder to take. But
one of the many reasons why you don't actually want to fight over Cloud Drakes and Ocean Drakes in general is they have splash damage and they attack so quickly. Infernal's the only other dangerous one, whereas Mountain's harmless. It just takes longer to do.
Also a nice one to have early on to the game in terms of scaling for this team. And if IG do execute on their composition correctly, as you were mentioning before, and actually get to these places before just getting hammered by RNG, then Mountain Dragon will help them to take these objectives even faster. Bot lane, there was an attempt at the gank. I mean, he's going to shoot out the equalizer anyway. Okay, so he'll go back into his jungle now.
I mean, he zoned them off the turret.
There we go, he denied
minions.
a minion.
I think he denied a couple more at least, which is nice.
There you go. That's opened up a couple minion advantage.
That.
Yeah, no, let's go back up to the mid lane where the CS advantage is essentially the same, but Kid is clearing out this ward. And in general, I mean, IG's vision is pretty strong around the mid lane, so MLXG will want to be here for a potential counter gank, I think, more than anything.
But he can't even do that without the equalizer. So in all seriousness, that was a shocking decision.
That's what you
from
think.
the jungler.
Okay, yeah, he's forced back away.
Like, Rookie has such a strong amount of control in this middle lane. Top lane's also doing well from Duke. The only person besides Uzi, so on the top half of the map is what I'm trying to say from RNG that's doing well, is actually MLXG. He's got his completed jungle item in comparison to that of Kid, who is quite far behind. He has an experience advantage, but instead of utilizing that in any way, he just throws an equalizer down bottom.
Yeah, and I might add that his farm advantage is, you know, from the tears of Xiaohu in the mid lane, where he just lost that massive minion wave. So, more than anything, I'm just looking at this top lane again and again, where Duke is obviously getting the better of Let Me in a lot of these trades, despite Let Me having this Camille.
Yeah, Camille has maxed the Q out, for those wondering as well, went to E second, and has disregarded the W, which is perfectly fine. I'd say it's standard for most Camilles. The W is just used for sustain. It's never actually used in a combo for the way of doing damage unless somebody is out of your auto range.
Especially against Fiora, who can dodge inside of the inner ring with lunge very easily.
Here we go.
Will jump onto him. He does have the grand challenge on top of him. He'll get 3 vitals before having to back away. He had Kid there just in case.
But that wins lane too.
Let Me back, yeah.
Yeah, so a teleport will come out now of Let Me if he wants to get these minions as they crash onto the turret, unless they decide that MLXG is the collector once again. And so by utilizing that teleport, Duke still has his available. All he wants to do is crash this onto the turret.
This could be potentially bad for someone, and it might actually be Duke, but the second Harpoon does not land while Equalizer is still up, but Kid was around the area. Duke was low on mana, but after all of that, I think it's just going to fizzle out, I say, with Ellipsis, because MLXG is still staying around in the top lane, just outside of range. Ah, he actually got saw by that ward. That's it. There was a pushed up ward from Duke, and it just saw MLXG, so he'll back away to base.
Yeah, so MLXG was there to actually ensure that Let Me can collect this farm. He was actually going to force a freeze onto Duke, which isn't a big deal, but it does actually bring the teleport out. So their match teleport usage is now on the top side of the map. And again, this is still something that's quite good for IG, just as much as it is RNG, because as the Fiora scales, you know, closer and closer to that breaking point.
MLXG was staying around the top side for a long time, looking for maybe a gank to happen up against Duke. But he saw blue spawn, so why not just give that over to Xiaohu? All right, round 2. Stop attacking at 5 win. Perfect. He'll get it.
No red buff this time.
Yeah, no red buff to tick down, so he'll get that donation over. And finally, he'll go back to base. I feel like he must be sitting on quite a lot. Yep, instant Sork Boots picked up, along with that control ward as he goes back into his jungle. So very happy MLXG, but he needs to convert this into something for his lanes.
Yeah, and he went more of Malmortia's first item here, Xiaohu, while we're highlighting the middle lane. This means he doesn't want to die. The same thing applies to top lane. Like, they're fighting a fair bit, but they're playing to not die. MLXG is playing to ensure that his lanes just continue to scale and get items. But it does feel like slowly and assuredly, IG are getting to big points of power.
They are indeed. You can even see that on farm, at least in the mid lane and the top lane, as again another wave crashes against Let Me. But it's actually bot lane where the discrepancy is opening up for RNG. That Uzi's done a really nice job. Bit of a vision tussle in the river. Nice shockwave, but I'm not really sure he has the damage to finish him off. That's going to at least force him more of Mortius, which is big for the next at least minute and a half for Xiaohu.
Yeah, it's very handy. Of course, someone is still there for Rookie. He could have tried to dive if there was no perhaps more of Malmortia's shield available. I'd be super risky against Xiaohu. Didn't even blow summoners though, so you'd be happy with the end result, except for this wave that's now about to crash and the pressure that's now about to go onto this turret. MLXG has to pop his equalizer. It's just gone.
He just silenced himself, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he really wanted to silence himself. He popped W just at the end.
Oh
now
God,
equalizer comes out, but the second equalizer really does not hit the mark for RNG.
He must think it stuns them. Like, it doesn't stun them.
Yeah, no. That was, yeah, maybe he's thinking it's just like Corki package, which is essentially equalized but has like a 90% slow.
And this is really lacking, honestly, from RNG. I will continue to say that it's MLXG, but it could be a communication problem. Ming being nearby might have indicated that MLXG wants to fight, and the decision was not to actually do that. But they don't defend the mid lane turret when RNG have lane control in the bottom lane. MLXG isn't there because he's doing red buff. There's just this abundance of small things, like really small things, that have amounted to what is effectively just a 1,000 gold lead but that's through laning phase. IG, we already said, they're dangerous strictly at even just laning phase against RNG into how they match up, and that's coming true.
So how impactful is this heading into mid-game for IG and RNG? Because you were saying that IG typically has to be there before the play, whereas RNG can just blast them if they arrive there at any point in time. So has this differential that's opened up really affected that?
To a degree. So there's definitely a large Orianna who has a completed item and then some. Will be a massive influence if they get there and set up for objectives first, but also very strong at being able to check for things by having that extra cooldown reduction, just threat of damage. And again, the lack of crowd control that RNG have got means that checking areas when they are ahead is still quite okay for Invictus Gaming. I think the Infernal Drake's the big thing that RNG really want to fight for though. And as you can see, the advantages Invictus Gaming have got is just completely push them out of the area entirely.
Even as that advantage is being set up now in terms of vision, RNG are waiting around the side. Kid has started off this Infernal Dragon. He's slightly out of range of that vision there from RNG, and they can just see that one reset. Marge is closing in from the bot side, but ultimately he is split from his team. So again, it's precarious from both sides, but again, Kid has already started off. It's coming to a smite battle, but just LXG just literally walks up slowly and smites the dragon.
Nobody trying to zone him away. Kid was just trying to sneak it. And they opt towards a 50-50 smite in a situation where you'd say Invictus Gaming could have grouped up.
Against an underlevel Elise as well.
Yeah, and against half-health members of the opponent team. Like, it's not the cleanest game of League of Legends that we're seeing so far, but if nothing else, they are taking risky decisions because they can.
I do want to compare and contrast that, though, to the first couple minutes of the game, because we saw some really nice setups from the junglers at the very least, and what they were setting up. But yeah, now that was just a questionable decision. IG are going to convert this into a top lane dive. Perhaps Let Me has been flashed away from. He'll jump away from Duke as the shockwave was coming out. And while there was a rotation from Xiaohu and LXG, they're not even needed.
No, of course, forcing the flash out does still give an advantage to Duke, who has his ultimate there. And as you can see, sitting in the brush, still wants to pick and choose his battles where he can take out Let Me. So lane control isn't exactly a big issue for a Trinity Force Camille. They always have a lot of lane control, but you can see the pressure that Duke is able to place now in the 1v1 to his opponent. By Rookie coming up, just a bit of extra pressure on top of that, and a free recall. They force Xiaohu to come up and match it, but that guy's got no mana, right?
Oh, Rookie finding MLXG, another flash from Kid, really committing on this one, but he's already out of range. There was the Scuttle Crab Shrine there. So 2 flashes for 1, and RNG get the bargain deal.
Yeah, lesson number 1 of League of Legends. Don't flash if you're not in range to throw the spell immediately. So he flashes and walks at him angrily as MLXG just gets over towards his Scuttle Crab. I believe trying to utilize the move speed on the Orianna W as he flashed was close enough to being in range, but close enough doesn't actually hit the Cocoon with the travel duration.
That's true. However, if Ming just walks right into Marge, that'll be an easy kill. Stranglethorns comes up and he's not dead just yet. He'll walk into the bush and buy himself a couple more seconds before going down.
That was good from Marge though, waiting for the exhaust to end, being at the red buff for no particular reason, just catching them on rotation down. And again, we're seeing all these risky decisions by IG. It's not exactly that they're all bad ones, it's just that they are risky. Like, do you ever walk towards your red buff and expect to see a Varus by himself when it hasn't even spawned yet? Not really. And these movements are catching RNG by surprise.
Little by little, it's just adding up in terms of this gold advantage, which now opened up to a 2,000 gold advantage. Probably would have been that Infernal Dragon as well had he not botched it, but Duke, lots of damage coming in here from MLXG as he's chased under his tower. Equalizer used, Duke is still being dove. Oh, riposte will keep him alive. Well played to Duke there.
Yeah, gets off and riposte the damage, so Duke lives, but there's still 3 members on the top side of the map. They're looking for the structure, but it's definitely not the first blood. There's Kid's caught too.
Ming's found him. Uzi's going to follow up. He gets the old double tap down, but Megan and Marge are here to defend him, and he is good to go for now as Rookie's also there to support him. So Jungler stays alive, and the push continues in the bottom lane.
Rookie no flash, so to get the shockwave off, he's hoping that they will walk towards him. There's again lots of movements around the map now by both of these teams. They're starting to accelerate the pace of this game, looking for every opportunity to just get a kill and actually find some momentum through these kills. But instead they end up trading as a result. Top lane turret for the bottom lane.
This could be potential disaster. It's one combo. Shockwave just blew up Ming as he was walking into the jungle.
Yeah, Ming has already died. Respawns and dies again. Rookie, of course, very smartly in the right place, knowing where vision will go down. And it feels like IG are one step ahead of their opponents, perhaps even Duke being already running away from the top lane as they get there, knows that they are watching everything RNG do.
It's gotta feel bad for Ming, you know, his boss is watching him and he's just farming down bot lane and it's just like, oh, my support's dead again, and he's just like, ah! Just walking into his own jungle as well, where people really shouldn't be there. But he's just not really having a good day, so maybe he'll be extra cautious, but honestly, like, he had no reason to have any fear to be in that place at that time. It was just Rookie happening to be in a bush, he was there. And that was a Skull Crab secure on the top side by Kid and Megan. He's having a much better day.
And Ming's now with his team, so he's got a bit more safety to speak of. Of course, level 8, quite behind in experience. Still just wants to be a big part of the vision control of the team. So once they establish this, and you can see by going to Baron at 20 minutes on the dot, they know what IG can do. Whether they would do it or not is another question entirely. I doubt they would. They actually want to make picks and kills. No. We spoke towards what their team composition will do. That is, have the Fiora split push, is now bottom, and then have the 4-man unit hit the cocoons, hit the shockwaves, and hit the Varus ultimates. They are literally playing their team composition, but RNG are walking into it.
Sure. And IG are typically getting to those places faster, which is nice to see that them recognize what they need to do with this composition and execute on it. So now still sitting up around this Baron area. Rookie pushing up the top lane. That tower is the only one standing for the outer ring of RNG. That's a hook shot down. Hextech ultimatum, but maybe not the one he necessarily wanted. Rookie's very low, but that will be a trade. Top laner for mid lane to start this one off. MXG chasing down the Elise. He pops back down onto Ming. Almost gets the kill, but not quite enough. Megan being forced back, and this just is an easy one. Over to Uzi. That'll be a double kill.
Yeah, super easy. 3 kills in the end, actually, for Uzi. They move immediately to the Baron. This is risky because Varus is still alive. Duke has the teleport, and he's immediately teleporting in. So they're committing to this, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah. As that Marge arrow connects, it's like, maybe not. But Duke walks in there, 1 versus 4, getting the better of Xiaohu to start this one off as the arrow slightly comes short, and that will be RNG forced to back away. Yeah,
so a single Varus arrow is enough to deter them. The teleport's just an added bonus, but we get to see all of this again as the ultimate is what kicks this off. Unfortunately, the stun wasn't there to lock down Rookie. He actually moves out of the way. But this is the Uzi show, because even through the exhaust, the amount of damage that he is able to do is ridiculous. And the initial ultimate killing Rookie was super important. They need to outrange that Orianna, especially after the shockwave has been used. And so good moves from Uzi.
Uzi is massive right now. 3-0-0, 250 right there, and he also has the Edge of Night being built at the moment, so he's going to get to a point where he can just set up, get ready to go, and just like launch his ultimate at the opponents, and there's nothing they can do about it without 2 spells hitting, so that'll be something that IG will need to think about. But that last play really just brought RNG back into contention.
Yeah, exactly. It got the ball rolling once again in their direction as another cocoon is on.
Oh, that was a lot of damage from Kid after MLXG. Let Me comes in there with the hookshot, lands onto Kid, but it's actually Marge closing in from behind. Gets in with the arrow, and it's Megan who's now taking out, almost taken out from his opponent, but that was a nice 2 for 0. Just a catch really there and a rotation from IG.
Yeah, hit the cocoon and destroy MLXG's health bar. He's a fragile champion playing that rumble in the jungle, and this is now a second Mountain Drake that they're able to pick up for themselves as a result. This pick composition we already highlighted, that's exactly what they're trying to do, and RNG are playing into it. Well, they win a fight, and then they start getting picked off again. So the moral of the story is group up more, RNG.
You can see that once more. Cocoon lands, and that's like, what, 80% of MLXG's health just from Kid's combo?
Yeah, Let Me also overcommitting, trying to take him down when Karma is nearby. It was close to getting this kill, but because IG rotates so quickly as a 4-man unit, that's exactly what they want to be doing, and you can't help but be impressed by IG doing that so effectively.
For sure, and you see, it's now back to serious Uzi as he's 3-0-0, but his team is falling apart around him. And ultimately, you get to these team fights, and it's just about making sure that his front line is there. You get the equalizer down, and he can set up for that bullet time, because that could really decide these fights and these choke points.
Yeah, exactly. If they can actually utilize the Camille ultimate on Fiora as they hit late game, and then they can stop him from getting onto Uzi, they can win.
Well, exhaust comes down, and Megan may be going down as well. Nice tether, but MXG still chasing after, and it's enough damage from Xiaohu to finish him off. Just a pick in the river.
Whoa,
what was that damage? Dissonance from nowhere. Rookie blows them up. He didn't even know his own power. He just put out the shock move. He was like, oh, they're already dead.
The ultimate didn't even hit them. Yeah. They just evaporated.
Oh my god.
Look, I'm looking forward to seeing this again as a result of killing Megan. Ming and MLXG, actually, they were quite heavily poked out, but
Let's get that
How did
slow-mo in here.
LXG die here? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he throws out the shockwave. It's just like, oh, I didn't even need that.
Got to be kidding me.
Oh, 4, 1, and 2 now. Another fight opening up in the mid lane. Marge is under attack by Lepney. He's got lots of damage from that Triforce, but it's not enough. The bullet time will finally finish off his quarry, but that's still a 1-for-1 trade. Yeah,
remember 7.1 Camille means you're stuck in the domain, and so you have to deal with an entire bullet time at your face with absolutely no escape. Perhaps the Zonias will now be the way to go for even Marge. Why not? Because at this stage you need something to get out of that. Uzi, the biggest member of the team, and we already said what Camille may want to do in this game. It's lock down Rookie or lock down Duke, depending on the context of the fight, and protect Uzi. This game is quite literally protect the Uzi with zone control. Place the equalizer like a band-aid, protect that area, and just let him work his magic with the bullet time.
Back to basics for this composition and for this lineup, honestly, for RNG, and that's Edge of Night picked up for Uzi as he works his way towards his next item. Could very much be Lordomics regards. That'll be a flash from Zhao, who did not want to get caught in the damage from Rookie, as we've already seen what it can do to someone.
He's just so good at hiding in red. Ooh. That's absurd. Okay, goodbye turret.
Yeah.
See you, Xiaohu. Run away.
Yeah, that was a command attack and dissonance. That was all it was. I don't think that was even a Thunderlord's proc. So Rookie's hurting a lot. He's been farming up a Storm in this mid lane.
Rookie is the strongest member on Summoner's Rift by quite a mile. Even with his... Oh my god.
Like, just what? He was basically full health. Arrow connects onto MLXG. Had Ming not been standing there, the reduced damage may have been enough. And they can turn their attention to Baron. Kid's going to tank it. We need someone to jump in there real quick.
Well, Karma and Orianna are a tank, so this is already gone. Baron's theirs.
But it's the follow-up from here on out. Bullet time comes down, but it doesn't, again, hit the mark on IG. There was no equalizer follow-up, and that's just essentially a free take for IG.
And that was quite simple. It was just Rookie walking at them and using all of his buttons accordingly. He does so much damage that the fact that he's able to do that much pushes them away from the Baron. They're not even close enough to get in range because they're at risk of dying if they do. And now a free Baron goes to Invictus Gaming. Suddenly the Fiora is sitting pretty with a massive CS advantage, completed split pushing items, and now a Baron buff. Now, IG absolute control now.
Yeah, TLDR, IG pretty massive. That big gold lead on top of everything else. It's just forcing RNG into situations like this. You can see on your screen where they're sitting in a bush, waiting for someone to come down. Duke is just like, couple people off the map. Maybe they're trying to ambush me. And he's right on the money because there's 2 people waiting there.
Look at the patience on the man's face. Just chewing his gum saying, all right, that's one of them.
Yeah, what a badass, by the way. Like, that's so good to see. Duke not even caught out. He was playing far back. Hextech Ultimatum blocked out by the parry from Duke.
He's going
He'll turn
for
this one around in the 1v2. He just needs the proc to come off. He doesn't quite get it. He got it. He killed Lemmy and he gets away. Duke, unbelievable play. And that'll open up IG to push down mid lane.
His facial expression hasn't even changed.
He's still
just
chewing
so
his gum.
Calm, chewing that gum. And now IG pushing mid lane.
Flash away from Ming, and Uzi instantly interrupted. The bullet time goes nowhere. IG playing out of their minds and could even finish it off in this push.
This is disgusting from Invictus Gaming. They want the kills, but they also need the inhibitors. Duke is bringing minions towards the bottom lane so they can rotate or they can end. It's up to them.
I mean, they have this one minion, but they have another wave behind them. That's going to be TP'd on from Duke. This first tower is done and dusted. Xiaohu doing what he can onto Megan, but the support is zoning away the damage threat. Duke jumps on top of him, and look at the damage. The exhaust comes out, but it's an exhausted battle as Rookie finishes him off there in the backlines. MLXG falls over, and just like that, ING walk all over the place. Just walk all over RG and head on to the Nexus to take game 1 in convincing fashion under half an hour.
And that pretty much exploded out of nowhere, Pulse. Invictus Gaming hit some big